Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Let's get this thing started. Let's go.
All right, guys. Welcome back to the seventh ever NorCal Gooners podcast.
Oh,
It's
God.
been 3 years since we did our last one. A lot of babies have been made since. I think one of the
All of
last
our
things
gray
we did
hairs
was,
have been acquired.
yeah, and we did a Odegaard Here We Go was our last podcast. Can you believe that?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Jesus,
that
that
is
was
so-
wild.
So for the most part, it was just Davino and I, and we had a couple guests on. Now we have a panel. So introducing Fern and Jerry. How you guys doing?
Chilling. Let's get
Doing-
this thing going, bro.
Doing all right. Doing all right.
All right, guys. Well, let's take it from the top and let's start off with our game recap. What did you guys think? Arsenal versus AC Milan.
All right, I'm gonna leave this one for David. Let's hear what you got to say. I know you probably got some stuff to say.
Well, I got too much to say.
Oh boy.
Well, I'll
No,
kick
I
it
mean,
off.
I thought the boys look solid. They look good. I mean, just coming back from their holidays. Getting some of our new boys integrated into the squad. I mean, not really much criticism. I mean, it is a preseason friendly, so you take everything with a grain of salt. But I mean, from what I saw, everything looked good.
I have to agree. It was
Sure, sure.
pretty chill. We saw a little bit of, players not looking the greatest, not looking their best, but it is literally the first game of the season. So it's the build up to the season. I wasn't expecting everybody to be great. I think it's just solid minutes for players that needed it, especially players coming off of injuries.
Barry?
I didn't get a chance to see it, unfortunately, but from the highlights that I've been seeing, our boys have been looking pretty good. A bit of game time for Zubin MD, I believe.
Yeah. Well, and for reference for anybody watching, we are the NorCal Gooners, which means the game was on at 4:30 in the morning for us. So some of us may not have gotten up.
I did not wake up for that.
Replay. So I just watched the replay of it, but the way that I saw it, honestly, I thought it was really good. I thought the team came out nice, hard. Even all the youngsters that we had on the field were playing like their lives depend on it. It just looked like it's a team that's gonna go for a title. Like we're gonna be competing for that title, even if you've got 15, 16 years and you're on that bench, you have an opportunity to step into that first team. That's what it looked like.
Speaking of 15 to 16-year-olds, Mr. Downman, 15 years of age. What do you guys think so far? Because I've seen a little bit of his play, and honestly, I'm interested to see how he's going to be playing at the later years.
I think he looked great. I think he came out and looked like he wasn't scared to come out and play. He turned a couple players. He went into the spaces really well. He had a shot pretty early on. And I think he had a pretty high rating for the match. He had like a 7.5 or something for the amount of time that he played. So I'm excited about Dauman. I think he's going to be a great player. He already is a great player. I think he's going to be a great addition to the squad.
It's the thing that I feel like we need right now.
Yeah, I think we're going to integrate him just like we did with
Ethan.
Wanyeri and
Yep.
Yeah, with Ethan Wanyeri. Yeah, I think we're just gonna slowly integrate him into the squad, but he looks like a sensational player at 15 years old, which is half my age, and I'm not embarrassed to say that. But he looks like such a quality player. So I'm literally looking forward to seeing him being integrated in probably more like the cup ties as part of the squad. But
I was just about to mention that. Like I could see him playing as a starting for maybe like the Carabao Cup or maybe for the EFL or EP or is it the FL Cup
FA,
or FA Cup. Thank you.
EFL, FA Cup. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think
feel
it'd
like
be a really good addition for that.
we have a lot more players to be able to rotate into the cup, as we've seen with all the transfers incoming. We haven't had so much outgoing. Like, we have lost like Tomiyasu and, you know, obviously the big controversy Partey, we've lost all of them. But the way that I see the team and how we've built outwards, we've got that, we're starting to see that depth, that everyone's been saying that we've been lacking for years and years and years. But now, as you're seeing, we're getting there, and it was a slow process, but we're looking solid now. If you look back at like last year's, like for Real Madrid and everything, we didn't have the depth that we have at the start of this season as postseason.
I mean, 6 signings is quite a few signings, right?
Yep.
I know we are expecting players to go out, but I mean, in January we did literally nothing, and in the summer before that, how many players did we bring in? 3,
Fucking
4.
Sterling. I
Sterling,
don't know. It's the least.
Richie. Did we make David Raya permanent last summer?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
We made Raya permanent.
and Marino, right? Those
Yep.
are the ones that come to mind.
Yep.
So now this time we're on the verge of 6 players with the here we go for Gyökeres, right? With potential to add more and potential for outgoings to provide more funds, right? So I think depth is going to be a lot better. We're hopefully not going to be without a 9 if we have 2 injuries, with Gyökeres and Havertz, and then hopefully Jesus gets back, at some point early in the season. And
I want to say he's probably going to be like midway through the beginning of the season, probably after like 8 games, I would say.
he's I think he's due back before January, but I don't know how early.
Yeah, I did see that it looked like he picked up a little bit of a knock, so he might have had a setback with his progression as far as getting back to full fitness, but it's still very much up in the air as far as when his estimated timeline to return is. Which, I mean, at this point, with the latest here we go, I mean, it's not too big of a concern, and thankfully he's not going to be, hopefully, not too much of a big of a miss, but it's still very much a TBD, and hopefully we can get him back sooner than later, so that way we can continue to increase that depth that we need to make a bigger push into the later of the season and specifically the Champions League. So
Right.
I would hope that we would be in the conversation like we were last year, but hopefully with the newest additions we can definitely take it over the line for sure.
Yeah, I mean, so key moments. Let's go in the game. Highlights for you guys. What were they?
Oh,
For
the
me,
Ethan Wanyeri
the
turn.
spin. Yeah. Oof.
And then
Oh
returning
my
player.
30.
god.
Downman
That one
also.
was the shot he had, Wanyeri. The shot he
That
had
was insane too.
on the volley, that one was wild. Like, to be able to turn like that on that instance on the left foot, just straight hit it, killer.
That just reminded me of Thierry Henry versus Manchester United. Just that one touch, and then just the instinct to just want to just strike it right afterwards. It was class. It makes me excited as a fan. Hopefully we can keep integrating him, keep building him up, and who knows, he might be a 10. I don't know what you guys think.
I think so. I think
Is he
that's his
better
end.
suited on the right hand wing as backup to Saka, or is he even potentially backup to Martin Odegaard?
I think he's more of a backup to Odegaard just because of his play style. He can distribute and he can create those chances by himself. As to where Odegaard, he's finding space, he's breaking up the play, he's, a lot more of a playmaker style, like kind of like how we had with Ozil. Not to say Ozil, like, again, Ozil lacked a lot as far as like tracking back, and Odegaard does track back and he does, put pressure on players and try to take the ball from them. which Ozil didn't, so that's still an upgrade, but I feel like Nwaneri's that mixture of all of them. He's got the attacking potential and he's got the distribution.
I don't even think that Nwaneri would even necessarily be the direct backup to Odegaard, especially when we have links like Eberiche Eze, right? I think I think Nwaneri can actually even be more of a when you need to pull Declan Rice back. Maybe Zubimendi's getting acclimated to the Prem. You take him off, for the last 20 minutes. Rice can drop into the 6, and now you have Nwaneri operating as another creative 8. So he could play hand in hand with Odegaard uh, instead of him, right?
I was
Yep.
thinking that as well because the way I see it, maybe we could slot Ranieri toward the right mid, have him or right center mid, and then you can have him play more towards Saka and have him as a backup for if Saka gets caught up and needs to drop back a little. Ranieri could go around him a for one of his usual centers or possibly
Bend it to the
just to
back
keep the
post seems to
ball.
be his trademark.
Yeah. So probably have him doing that sort of thing as starting from the center mid position.
We take a moment and say the transformation that Kai Havertz has had this preseason is killer.
That dude's yoked.
Dude.
Had a lot of time to
It
work
is.
out,
You
I
recall
guess.
we shouldn't even be calling him King Kai. We should be calling him Kaiser Havertz at this point. That man is
Agreed.
built.
Yeah, and I feel like he's starting to realize the pressure that it's bringing because the team is just growing so much, and there's going to be that competition for that starting 11.
Yeah, exactly. And right now we don't know how Arteta intends to continue using him, right?
Mhm.
With Gyökeres coming in, you would think that Gyökeres is going to be the main 9, and right now we just brought in a new 6, so I think Havertz, while he's still going to get a lot of play time, I think he's going to be on the bench, uh, starting off. Unless there's something about Victor Gyökeres in preseason that they want him to kind of maybe get used to the Prem by introducing him 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, sequentially. Um, Kai Havertz could find himself struggling for game time by, January.
Mhm.
I think it might be happening a lot sooner. Like, I mean, yeah, what was it, like 73 million euros that we're spending on Gyökeres? Like, everyone's been calling out for him. Like, I'm sure, he's well aware of the noise outside of the club, as far as, their desired targets. And, you know, Kai, unfortunately, had to work his way into, the good graces of the Arsenal fan base. But I think
And half of
kind
them
of
still don't even like him.
half of
So
them will still criticize him. Absolutely. I
Mhm.
mean,
let
you know,
me let me put you into the perfect example that I tell everyone, right? From Kai's days, from when he started out at Leverkusen, he was never a striker. Let me just put that out there. He was never a striker.
thought he was more of a cam.
He was. He was
Yeah,
playing right behind, at
like
the
a
time it was Werner.
center forward type of
So he
thing.
was right behind him. So whoever says that, oh, he's always been a striker, he has not been a striker.
Would you make the argument that he's more of a
Mhm.
center forward? That's a little bit
Yeah,
more
he
deeper
is
set.
because he plays really close to the striker because he likes
But
he likes those 1-2s with the forward, and it puts him into the position to score goals. That's the reason why his goal count at Leverkusen was way higher than it was at Chelsea. Because Chelsea was playing him as a striker. He wasn't ever built into that position. It's not for him. So him coming to Arsenal, and yeah, he had to play it because we didn't have a striker. We had Jesus, but Jesus, what happened when we signed Havertz? He got injured, and he's been injured throughout the entire time, pretty much. It's been back-to-back injuries
I,
where we've
I
had
think the problem with Kai Havertz's role, his best role, is that Arteta doesn't utilize it, right? we don't really play with a true 10. We play with a 6 and two eights. And so we don't have that second striker role. And we know that Arteta is notorious for making substitutions too late or not wanting to make the substitutions during the game or rotate players. So if Arteta's not willing to switch us to a 4-4-2 in a game where we need Havertz to come in, um, I don't see where Kai Havertz gets into the team. Now, don't get me wrong. I think he's great. I think he's intelligent, and he plays for the team, right? He'll run down every single ball if he has to. So I think the only thing left to see is how well he does in preseason, and see if he can display somebody else, right?
I feel like
Like,
it
do you
also
think?
depends on our spending coming in as well for Gyökeres, because if from all the things that we've seen, yeah, he's great. Don't get me wrong. Everything screams striker, you know. But again, I have my doubts based off of the fact that he was with Brighton, and for him to have moved elsewhere and then end up in Portugal to start getting all these numbers and fully develop to what he is now, I feel like the Prem is just a different animal.
It is, but he played for Coventry, and the championship is as rough a league as any, right? So I think he's not out of his depth physically, but I think that the Prem is going to provide a new challenge in terms of level, and he might struggle a little bit at first, but I don't think he's going to have too much of a problem adapting, in the long term. Just because if you watch a trend of how he's been doing since he came up, he's pretty much been increasing on goals every season. He has a good like. It looks like he
Well,
developed well, right? Every season he gets a little bit better. Um,
rumor is he gets mad when he doesn't score. So
yeah, that's the
there's
that's the
that,
killer
you
mentality
know.
we need, right?
Yep, exactly.
I
So that's the reason
mean,
why I said there's some doubts lingering, but it's not like I'm saying he's a terrible striker, he's great at what he does. Like he's putting in the work, he's putting in the numbers, but there's still just that tiny bit of doubt.
I don't have any doubts. I think when we got to peek behind the curtain a little bit more with the Arsenal documentary, we were seeing how upset somebody like Aaron Ramsdale was to not obtain like a clean sheet. And if he's striving for perfection, then that's exactly the type of character that I want in my club. Someone who's gonna put on the shirt, fight for the badge, do the best that they can to their ability to make sure that we get the best results, and we do well in each competition. And if Jokeres is getting upset because he didn't score a goal, like that to me doesn't scream like any red flags. That just means that he has that kind of mentality and or character of wanting to like kind of pursue perfection, even though most of the times it's unachievable. But I like that within a striker. I want them to get upset. I want them to be emotional. This is a very emotional based game, as much as FIFA tries to strip that away from you know from players, by handing out needless yellow cards, for taking off your shirt. Like that's the game I love. But going back to Jokeres, I mean, if he gets pissed off for not scoring, then so be it. I want to kill out my club, and I feel like we finally have that. So have freedom of reign, man, to do it is what you do best, and that's to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yep. So let's talk about all of the transfers. We talked about Gyökeres a little bit. So let's back up. Let's see. What are you guys' thoughts on Subamendi?
Solid. There's nothing to compare, dude. I mean, the way that he just slotted into this preseason match for, like we had with Partey, now him just sliding into that position, it's like it's way, way, way better of an upgrade, you know?
I think so too. He's very good in
And then
tight spaces. He's very
even
good at
even
progressive passes. I agree. He's going to be a great
nope,
signing for us.
even Christian Norgard, he's slotted right in perfect.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
the
I
one
mean,
that on,
the
on,
thing, the
on that
thing,
volley, I think he's the one that passed it to Wanieri, didn't he?
I think you're
I
right. Yeah.
believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, though, Nogard does already have the Premier League experience. He's been there with Bournemouth, was it?
No, it was
Brentford.
with
Brentford.
Oh,
Brentford.
Brentford. Yeah, he's been there with Brentford for a while. And if you were to talk to, if you any of you know a Brentford fan, or if you've heard the comments or anything online, they've always said that man is like pretty damn consistent. When it comes to when it came to their team. Um, and since we had to pick him up because since we were already losing Partey due to the reasons. And then on top of that, we didn't want to have Rice playing on that 6 for so long
Well, the way
because
they slot in is Supermendi is a direct replacement for Partey, who was their starter,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
Norgard directly drops in for Jorginho, who is our experienced,
Yep, the
number
I
role
six. But
player.
he wasn't a aggressive number six. He was more of like a control the tempo number six. And now I think Norgard
mhm,
gives us a better foundation to be like to be a little bit more solid at the back with his defensive abilities.
mhm.
I mean,
Yeah, I personally felt like it might have been the for the transfer wise, it might have been the other way around. That we picked up no guard to replace Party and then Zubamendi for Jorginho.
Uh, I,
no, I think it was the other way around.
in
And I
Yeah,
terms
think
of
And
what,
uh,
in terms of
that's
where they fall in the lineup,
in
yeah.
the
there's no
line
doubt
in the line.
Zubimendi's going to start that game.
yeah,
Yeah, versus
Norgard isn't starting.
versus United. There's no way that Zubimendi's not starting that game. You know,
Mhm.
he's that type of player. Like it's the impact that he does is just completely different.
I mean, injuries aside to, somebody like Zubamendi, like Norgard is not. I mean, he's good, but I don't think he makes it into the starting 11 if
Mhm.
everybody's healthy.
Yeah,
Hypothetically speaking.
I can't agree to that. But the way I see
So
it, the way I see it, Nogard is like a more of a traditional 6, like more hold back,
so
defensive
now it
mid.
also comes down to where do we play Marino?
We
Marino's
We
don't.
can
coming off the
prob
bench.
we
Yeah.
can Yeah, we could probably have him back in his midfield position, but he's definitely going to have to be off the bench.
I don't know. I feel like the performances that he did as striker, if we do have an injury,
He might have
he's
to
Oh
come
yeah,
back.
he's gonna
yeah.
play it.
He's gonna be a
Mhm,
midfield or a striker
Yeah,
option off the bench.
Yeah, he proved
mhm.
that already.
yeah.
Yep.
The versatility that we have
And
within our
I
squad
think
is
I
impressive.
so if for
Mhm.
whatever knock on wood, which I have, that's my desk. If Gyökeres gets injured, Kai takes over as starting, Marino as the sub. And the reason why I say it is because I feel like Marino is like how Chicharito was to Man United. He's that super sub in that striker position. You know,
Well,
That's
he's
that's not a
maybe not the same
not a bad
output,
shout.
but
not the
Not
same
it's
output, but what I'm saying is the way that he plays is kind of similar to that, you know?
as long
Mhm.
as he bags him, man, I'm all right with that.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout. Don't get me wrong.
Okay, so we already talked about Zupimendi. We snuck Norgard in there a little bit about his role. We've got Kepa for 5
Madueke.
million. What do you guys think about
Let's
Kepa?
Oh,
let's let's get to the Madueke. Let's be real.
no, 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 no. We got to do Kepa first
No, let's
because
do both of them. We both bought both of them from
yeah.
Chelsea, right?
All right.
Let's
Okay.
start
So
with Kepa.
Kepa,
5 million.
the way that I saw, especially the penalty shootout, we stole him from Chelsea for that price.
I think so too.
We
Considering
stole him.
Chelsea made him the highest fee goalkeeper ever,
Yeah,
Mhm.
you know,
we stole him.
and he
It's
contributed to Bournemouth's best defensive record in the Premier League ever,
yep.
with comparable stats to our own goalkeeper, Raya. So
And
Mhm.
and you
I
can
think it was
tell
a
he's
great pickup.
hungry.
Oh yeah,
You can tell he's hungry for that starting position. You can tell that he is going to put up a fight for it.
Yeah,
yes he
I'm
is.
still astounded that Chelsea spent as much as they did on him.
Mhm.
It looks like they spent approximately like 80 million on him, euros that is. back in 2018, 2019. And the fact that we've signed him for pennies on the dollar, and he's already saved 3 penalties in a shootout, I think that's pretty extraordinary. I mean, I think I was hearing, the chants in the stadium of, we need to pay, Chelsea another, 5 million because we undercut them on the price. Same as, Declan Rice, with the transfer from West Ham.
Yeah.
Yeah, we totally bought him half price.
But I think he's just a solid second goalkeeper.
Yeah,
for
as
sure.
as it is right now, he's second, and comparing him to Raya. But for me, if he's got that drive, man, like he put up in that AC Milan game, like I don't know,
Well,
Raya might be
the
up
good
for a
thing is we're
challenge.
covered for injury and we're covered for. I feel really well with Kepa as the cup keeper. The
Yep,
Mhm.
EFL and the FA Cup.
yep.
Mhm.
I have no problem with Kepa playing those. We can rotate David Raya, less chances of an injury, and especially with Champions League football.
I think for a cup game, as far as like the EFL or those, I feel like we should at least before we go into those matches, like the game prior, if it's a small team, like say we're playing, like
Chelsea.
uh eh,
Wouldn't that
yeah,
be something?
why not?
Kept
Because
a
they're
clean sheet and a
way
Modric
low,
a hat trick at
you know.
at the bridge.
I feel like we
We'll
need
be
to
there.
play him one game prior just so he has that confidence again for the following game, for that cup game where he knows he's going to get that full 90 minutes where, he can come in on the second half of the game before, for like 15 minutes at the end of the match. Like just make a substitution. Because, you were saying it earlier, Arteta doesn't like to change his tactics. He doesn't like to sub players or he subs them too late. If we're down to the last 15 minutes, just sub them on. If we have subs available, if we still have 3 subs or whatever it is, just sub them.
Yeah, but that's such a dangerous game to play, though. I mean, like subbing on a goalkeeper when they're not injured.
I
Come on.
mean, but
That's what Arteta said he would do with Ramsdale and Raya, and it never
yeah,
happened. So.
exactly. Exactly. If he's gonna
Yeah.
throw it out there, I mean, we might as well throw it out there as well.
Okay, so on to Madueke, the very, very divisive signing, right? I
Great
don't think
signing.
I don't think anybody said it happened fast too, right? We're talking within a
Yep.
few days. It went from Arsenal are informed on Madueke to here we go. It was so fast, and it
Hmm.
divided the fan base. There's the people who were signing petitions and defacing murals, and then there's the other people who were like, he could be a good backup option on either wing. And
I
I
don't see him
heard,
as a backup.
well, the point I want to make
Mhm.
is a lot of people were upset at the price tag, 50 million, right? Or it was like 48 plus 4 in add-ons or something. If he were to be a backup to Saka, what would you pay for Saka right now? You would pay 120, 100 and let's call it 120, comparable to Verts. You're saying that his backup, or who I
He's more
consider
than
would be
that.
his backup, is less than half of what you would pay for that player right now? That doesn't seem too out of the world to me.
I mean, and he's like a similar age profile as well,
Mhm.
and 23 years old, and he's had some good runs, some very poor ones as well. I think I remember, acquiring him, in fantasy, and not being, super excited to have him, but when he drops a hat trick, like, we think it's like the next coming of Thierry Henry, right? So you know I think this was a very smart signing in the sense of fulfilling the requirements of having a pretty bolster squad to make some deep runs, but I'm not mad about it because I hope desperately hope that he will change my mind like Kai Havertz changed my mind. Coming from Chelsea, when the first thing I thought when we signed Kai was there's no way we're doing this. Why are we getting this guy? And especially at that price tag, which, seems to be checking off all the same boxes that Madueke is checking in that regard. So I don't understand logistically why we went out for him, but I, believe in, Arteta's vision, and hopefully, he can mold him into, a solid player for us.
Yeah, and either way, he's here, so let's back him.
Yeah, we have no option other than to support him. And I think,
Right.
frankly, it's pretty embarrassing, for anybody to be painting murals, depicting,
Agreed.
their
100%.
objection
Absolutely.
with this specific transfer. Like, it didn't need to go that far.
Yeah.
I really
So then
didn't.
let's move on to the next two. We've got Christian Mosquera, who I'm
Didn't
going to
even get
be
my opinion,
honest,
bro.
and what's that?
I said I didn't even get to say my
Oh,
opinion.
go ahead. Go
Oh.
ahead. What do you think about Nani? I thought we all talked. My bad.
So I think he's a great signing, and I can tell you, I spoke to Jerry about this earlier on. I think it was last week, right? Was it last week on your day off? Yeah, I think it was last week. But I was
think it might
telling
have
him he won me a free Arsenal jersey from you guys. I'm gonna let you guys know that right now.
All right.
And I can tell you the reason why is because how David said it, he had him on his fantasy league, right? He dropped him in January. I picked him up in January. Month goes by, drops a man of the match against Liverpool, does it to City, does it multiple other times. He won me a free shirt. And the way that he was playing, like, for the fact is, he came to the US to play in a tournament, get so far in the tournament, and they tell him like, hey, we're essentially in the finals, and him go, nah, I'm gonna go and jump
I
on
did
a
like
flight.
that. That was a good take that, Chelsea.
Yeah,
Mhm.
We put him on a flight
exactly.
to come to Arsenal. Yeah.
Exactly.
I gotta,
And it
I
was
gotta
his
respect him for
choosing.
that one.
It was his choosing because he could have stayed there. He could have played the entire tournament and then gone to sign.
Yep.
Mhm.
But he said, nope, I don't care about my medal. I don't care about any of that. I'm going to go sign this contract and I'm going to go play over there.
Well, he's still being given credit for the Club World Cup champion. So
He is. He's getting his medal, but he told them that he didn't want his medal. Like, it didn't matter to him.
I think Trump wanted his medal more than Nani did.
For real.
Did you guys see him just
I was-
pocketing that
Pocket,
thing?
yep, exactly.
He's
No way
stashing
he
them.
pocketed.
Once a crook,
Yeah.
always a crook.
No
Or
way.
once,
I did
once a
not.
criminal,
This-
always a criminal.
Mhm.
This is the first I hear of this. No
That's-
way he did that.
Yeah.
He was
I'll send
pocketing
it to you.
medals and keeping trophies.
Yeah.
Man. So
Yeah.
Oh my god, bro.
Well, remember the original one's still at the White House.
yeah, supposedly.
Yep.
But like, where do you guys, as far as like rating, if you were to rate this, because we also have Christian Mosquera that just, signed the other night. Where would you rate our transfer windows thus far? Out of 1 out of 10.
Mhm.
I'd
I
rate
see
it a
most-
good 7. I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're there for the full 10 yet. I think
Mm.
we need that 1 or 2 more signings, and that being an Aziz profile, or again, the very controversial one, the Real Madrid link, the Rodrigo.
I think
Mm.
I have to agree with a 7, maybe an 8. I'm very optimistic. I like what we've done, but on the side of caution, I'm going to say a 7 as well.
Gary?
Personally, I'll give it a 6.
Explain.
We're still missing a couple of spots. I would say we would still need a solid right winger as a backup just in case. I understand that a good portion of the signings that we've had were as versatile options. Like, oh, if he can't play on the left, we can move him to the right, or if we can move him from center from a center mid to a center attacking mid, and then he would still be able to come back down and help. But the way I see it, um, Mosquera is not. I would say like he's 21. He's barely getting into his groove.
Let's be
I
honest.
would.
Let's be
I
honest.
wouldn't.
None of us
I wouldn't
watched
put him.
Sevilla play, or was he
We
Sevilla or
don't.
Valencia?
Valencia.
Valencia.
Yeah.
Valencia.
I,
None
I
of us
don't.
watched
I don't.
Valencia
Yeah.
play. We
I
don't
don't know
know
him.
him
I can tell. I can
week
say
in, week
that. I
out.
don't.
But
Yeah.
I'm
he's
going to
getting.
tell you this.
But the way I would put it is, we've seen what Tomiyasu can do. It just sucks that he had such a terrible injury, and I hate that we have to let him go the way that
I mean,
we're doing it.
let's put it into
Because
statistics at this point, because a lot of the Japanese players that have came to the Prem don't tend to stay long.
That's true. I think Tomiyasu had the potential, though. It's just injuries really just.
Mhm.
And that's what
Played
it
their
is.
role.
I mean,
It's
if
I feel like it's too much
if they would
because
like, let
you
me
have
Some players aren't
let
built
me
for the intensity of the Prem, right? 60
Yeah.
something games
look,
with
look
all the
at
cups.
look at
but-
Kagawa. Look at Kagawa. Look how
I
he
was just-
came in. He was going crazy in Dortmund. Comes over here, gets injury after injury, gets food poisoning randomly. Like, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, it
So
didn't work
going
out for
back,
Takumi Minamino. It didn't work out. Yeah. Now I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
but unfortunately for him, it was the injuries. It just, I
Mhm.
think it was just too intense. And another one that suffered from that was Kieran Tierney, right?
Yeah.
I think he had a lot of potential for us, and he's a cult
I'm
hero in my eyes. But
I'm glad.
just
Honestly, I'm
very
glad he
injury
went back
prone.
to his.
He's
He
the
went back.
snow
He
warrior,
went
bro.
back to a
Yep.
Celtic, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad he went back to Celtic at least. He would at least be able to be back home and play the way he wants to, the way he used to. It's just
So
you're not going to be able to keep up with
So
the
with
Premier
going
League.
back to where you feel that we need to bolster the squad to up, the rating, the current rating of 6. Where do you feel we are lacking?
Well, I would bump it up by 2 if we were to get SA. I would bump it up by 1 if we do end up getting Rodrigo. And honestly, another defensive option, like probably another center back, or uh maybe have a right back in case either Ben White or who are we playing right back?
Timber.
Well, I think our transfer
Timber.
strategy with
Yeah.
defenders over the last few years has always been multi-position defenders. Kivior
Mhm.
was signed to be a left back, a left center back, and a left back backup, right?
Mhm.
We know Ben White, who was a center back, was signed to deputy at right back, but has pretty much made the spot his own. Timber can play on either wing, or I'm sorry, either fullback position. So aside from Saliba and Gabriel, everybody else can fit anywhere on that back line, I think.
Mhm.
Um,
We
The
can't
only
forget
person,
Calafiori.
Yeah.
yep, exactly. The only person that I feel like that can't really make the switch right now is Lewis
Timber.
Skelly.
but
I would
Lewis
say
Skelly
Timber.
can drop into the midfield. That's his
No,
multi-position.
yeah, well, yeah, that's his multi. But I'm saying as far as the back line goes,
Yeah.
because we're talking about the back line. We're not talking about like midfield or going up the field. We're talking about just back line. As far as like switching players within the back line, he's the only one that I see that hasn't been able to jump to the other side yet, which we haven't seen because he's been deployed on that left hand side the entire time.
Yep.
You know, so if we were to throw him on the right, who knows how he'd perform? We don't know.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, but I don't think
You know?
we really need that from him.
No, we don't.
Necessarily.
I'm not. Yeah, we
He's
don't.
a left-sided player specialist. Like,
Yeah, that's the reason why I'm saying like we don't need him to do that. But if we have to do it, like we would have to see how he'd fare. You know?
Yep.
well, yeah. I mean, if we were having a striker crisis, like we would have to throw him up there, right? Just like we threw Marino up there, and we just
Yep.
have to see how it goes. I mean, you can pick and play whatever player you want to be able to put up top. I mean, or whatever interchangeable position, but specifically for Miles Lewis Skelly, he's a specialist on the left.
I still think we need a left back. That's one of the other things I
I
need.
don't.
Mhm.
I think the squad is nearly perfect to be challenging for the top for the top
So
Well,
prizes.
before we move on to that point, we talked a little bit about Mosquera again, relatively unknown to us, but he comes highly rated, highly sought after, and is looking at like the future deputy to William Saliba. And we did talk about Victor Gyökeres already a little bit. Is there anything you guys wanted to add to the Gyökeres conversation?
nope, I'm good on that. As far as well, I mean, we can do the controversial one. What was your opinion between him and Sesko?
Uh, I thought that for the way we play and the potential, I wanted Sesko over Gyökeres, and that was coming at this from the angle of he has such a high ceiling. He might be even the best number 9 in the world at one point, right? But I came around to the argument of we need a striker for the now, not for the future. And who better to sign than the guy who had the best scoring record in Europe last season and has been phenomenal over the last 2 years.
I mean, I agree. I mean,
Mhm.
I never really had any kind of second thoughts about Shesko as being, our number one target and our number one priority for this squad. Because I feel like, we have all the components to be a very, very top team. Except, we were missing, that top link, which, I think Jokeres, in my eyes, checks a lot of those boxes as far as being, a poacher, being, an aerial threat, and, even having the ability to shoot from outside the box. And, I've seen some of his clips, and, he's even a set piece specialist if we don't have Declan Rice in.
Yeah, he's got a few good free kicks
Mhm.
under his belt.
I'm just saying that he has a lot of good qualities, and we need that for the now if we want to be challenging and keeping, some of our players, around that, have been linked to, other clubs that, may or may not have, higher ambitions than us. But, we need to keep these boys so that way we can, win some silverware in the now. And, by keeping them happy at the club is by putting medals around their neck.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Okay,
But as
guys.
far as our transfer window, I'll just say this. I think we're at an 8. I think, for me to, be 10 out of 10, I would have to see, an Eze or Rodrigo come through our doors. And we'd also have to see some outgoings as well. So, players like, Zinchenko, I feel like, is becoming, unfortunately, surplus to
That's
requirements
Mhm.
here. Maybe a Trussard if, we can land, one of those other top, winger,
Agreed.
players that, we're looking
Mhm.
for.
Here, okay, so
And maybe
before we
even Reese Nelson. I don't know, but Reese actually looked really sharp
Reese looked
in the
sharp. He looked
game.
like he was ready to fight for a spot, man.
He
He's
looks like
either
a man
that or
on a
he was
mission, man.
showcasing for his next role.
His next move. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah,
uh
But
like I said, when on that left back position, I feel like we're not fully set there as far as that left back goes, and the reason why is because we have Richie gets injured a lot. So the fact that we just have Skelly as a backup, I feel like if we offload Zinchenko, we need someone else on that side just in case, because
I can
you have Ben White on the opposite side that's very, very injury prone.
Richie gets
I
injured a lot,
absolutely agree with that.
but let's not forget who was actually starting.
He was, yeah,
Lewis Skelly was the starter, man. At the end of the season, Skelly made that spot his
at the
own.
end, but at the beginning it was Richie. That's what
Sure.
I'm saying. And he
Mhm.
got injured twice. He came back from injury, played with us for what was it, 2 games, and then went to international duty, and then got an injury in international duty. You know,
Yeah.
so
Hey, all I'm
I
saying,
mean,
anybody who gets talked to by Holland like that and then goes and drops the goal on them and hits Holland celebration, put that man on the pitch right now. That's my starter.
yeah, build that man a statue.
That what would the people call that? That football arrogance?
Yeah. Yeah, he
yeah,
does play with an arrogance, but it's a good arrogance. It's like
It's
he
it's
he
it's
knows
it's a
he
like I
has the
beautiful
said,
thing.
talent.
if Zinchenko departs, we need another one.
Mhm.
just to have that comfort
Yeah.
zone. I'm not saying we have to go all
Sure.
out and get like a good like left back. I'm saying we can get like a decent one, just to have as cover, just because we technically at that point we would be short.
Mhm.
The only
Yeah.
the only argument there for me is if you lose Calafiori, Miles Lewis Kelly's there. Kivior can play makeshift left back, and Jurgen Timber does a hell of a job on both fullback roles.
But
So in the spot
here's the
where
other
Ben
thing.
White is fit, remember Ben White is the preferred overlap right back. So
We got to talk about exits though too, because he was saying Zinchenko. But the other thing is rumors has it that Kivior is on his way out. So that's
well,
another person. So
Yeah.
those are
He was.
I would challenge that. I would say those are flip flopping, right? Like I just saw something recently that said Kivior is not expected to leave.
yeah,
So until
But
there's
that's what I'm
actually
saying. We
strong
don't know.
links, I don't
There's
believe
still
it.
there's still so much window left that we don't know who's going in, who's coming out.
Yep.
There's a lot of window left.
Here's another controversial one for you guys. If we had to make space onto that left, who would go? Martinelli or Trossard?
Both.
Yep. I'd have to agree with it.
If both go for Rodrigo, I want to win championships.
So
Mhm.
the way that I see it,
I love both players, but if that's what
so
it takes and that's the
right now we
sacrifice
have
we have to
enough.
make,
Right now
by all
we have
means.
enough for Izzy's, right?
Mhm.
Budget wise, right? We're saying we have enough for Aziz. The whole rumor is that if we sell Trossard, then we could go for Rodrigo. But the rumor is too that Martinelli's been linked to the Saudi league. So if he goes to the Saudis for an absorbent amount of money, why wouldn't we buy Aziz and Rodrigo to replace both of them?
True.
Well,
I
the
think
only
that's
reason,
valid.
the only counterpoint on that would be that Rodrigo's not going to be let go for cheap. People are expecting 80 plus mil for
But
him.
that wouldn't matter at that point because you're selling Martinelli to the Saudi league where you can get the 40, 50 million, 60 million, 70 million, whatever it is, absorbent amount of money because they have that money to spend, you know. And Trussard, we already know the valuation that Arsenal have him as. They want 20 million for him.
There definitely has to be an outgoing,
Yeah.
because for what we spent so far in the window, and this isn't even including Gyökeres, but we spent 157 million euros, which equals about 135 million pounds. So if we're to believe that we have a 200 million pound war chest to spend, on transfer fees, like
We're getting there.
we're about to tap out with
Yeah.
Gyökeres,
I
and so
think
we're gonna have to see some pretty drastic
I think we're in a better spot than
outgoings.
that 200. I think people don't realize that if I
I
remember
heard
the
a
stat
rumor.
correctly, we Arsenal made more money with between Premier League earnings and Champions League earnings than Liverpool did, and we didn't spend anything in January. So I think
Yep.
people
Yeah,
underestimate what position Arsenal are in terms
I,
That
of
I
what they can spend.
and we didn't spend that much in the summer transfer window, you
from
know.
what I
So
heard that
it's building up.
from what I heard that apparently we had 350 mil to play with. But I absolutely don't believe that. I think 250 is definitely more around the ballpark of what we have. But if some way, somehow we actually do have that 350, then I absolutely believe getting both Eze and Rodrigo would be a must.
I think one of them has to leave, either Trossard or Martinelli, before we go in for Rodrigo. And in my opinion,
Personally,
it's whoever brings in the bigger fee. I mean, don't get me
yeah,
And it's going to
wrong,
be Martinelli.
I love Martinelli. I think Martinelli is one of my favorite players on this team. But if a Saudi club comes in for him and offers 75 million euros, and Real Madrid is asking for 80, 85 for Rodrigo, I'd say we do that.
mhm.
Rodrigo's going to bring that X factor, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would personally want to see uh, Martinelli leave before Trossard, mainly because Trossard, I like you guys know me. I always hyped him up because he always had like that. He always had
Always been
that.
a good player. He's always been
Yeah,
a good player from Brighton even before that. He's always been a great player. There's no doubt about it. It's just the fact that his age and the profile of the club that we're starting to mold into, we're trying to get it so that it's youth and we can, as we go, you start to age with everyone equally. It's not about just winning one title and being, hey, we're champions for 1 year. It's for multiple years. We're trying to win it multiple years, back to backs, and that's kind of where we're going. So for us to offload Trossard at a 20 mil fee, I think that's really, really good. Even 15 mil. If someone gives us 15 mil for him, I think that's still a good price.
I honestly would say try to sell him for like 30 mil.
I feel like that's
what
too
we
high.
bought him for?
Yeah, that's too close. That's too close to what we paid, and on top of it for his age, it's not going to happen. It's unrealistic.
And with 1 year left, right?
Yeah.
But I would make the argument too, though, that age isn't necessarily a factor as much.
It depends on what league he goes to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll make the argument that we just bought Christian Nørgaard and he's 31. Like, he's not an automatic starter, but he's a good squad player for sure. So like, I'm not as quick to move Trossard if we don't have to. If like Sergio said, the bigger key is Martinelli's move. If he were to get that, in order for us to facilitate a move, for Rodrigo or for an Eze, then so be it. I think they're both definitely upgrades to Martinelli. I think in the football intelligence sense and the finishing sense as well. After the injury that Martinelli sustained, he almost kind of came back as a completely different player, but in the negative context. Just because I did see less kind of take-ons, less willingness to take shots or take a risk.
He's scared to get injured again. It's what it is, and I mean it's the same thing. Like that's the reason why Tomiyasu left. It just gets to you mentally, and it eats at you. It eats at you to the point where you're not going to want to play anymore. You're going to be like, why am I playing if I'm just going to get injured?
I mean, I wouldn't mind getting injured at getting paid 150.
But see, we're different, man. We're different,
No, for
right now, anything sounds good. You tell me, you tell me $200 a game, I'd go play.
So you're telling me that the money wouldn't motivate you to keep going?
I mean,
come on, let's be real. Let's be realistic. For
him, I feel like it was just eating at him. That injury, Tomiyasu, those injuries just were eating at him. Like, I feel like, especially having to sit on the bench all season long and just watch your teammates play.
Yeah, he's the highest paid spectator.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Hey, for the sake of keeping this to a palatable, roughly around an hour, let's move on to one more topic today. Let's talk about Arsenal's best 11, and we'll run through this as a panel. So we'll start all the way at the back at the goalkeeper. Obviously, I mean, I don't think there's any question about it, right?
Raya.
Raya.
2 Golden Glove awards in a row. It's got to be Raya, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Before we go into further analysis of this, are we sticking with the same formation that Arteta sticks with, which is the 4-3-3?
4-3-3. We're running the 4-3-3.
Okay.
It's what Arteta loves. It's what we've been playing. So,
okay.
Going.
I take it we're doing the holding 3, right?
We're gonna play 1-6, and we're gonna play with either 2 8s or an 8 and a 10, or I guess we'll figure it out as we go, because ultimately the starting lineup decides what that's going to be.
For this exercise, we'll just go straight across, no up or down, just 4-3-3.
Starting at right back, we'll start at right back and at left back. So right back.
Timber or White? Oof.
Timber.
That's a tough decision for me. I love both.
I'm sorry, but like
I think this is going to be a bigger dilemma for everybody than we thought.
at this point,
the benefit is with White, he can play those balls. He has that link play with Saka to where Timber Yep.
In
And
the 23-24 season when we
Timber.
were looking great, that was one of our best outlets. It was Odegaard,
Yep.
Saka, White on the right.
Yep.
Mhm.
And Timber hasn't found that yet, but once he does, I feel like he's gonna be a killer.
I just
And
feel
that's
like
the reason why I
Timber
feel like Timber.
to me is just a better defender.
I was gonna say in a 1-to-1 mark a man situation, I think I would rather take Timber. So
I would 100% put
It-
my life
Absolutely.
in that man's hands.
and
If it
but
came down to a
you know what?
1v1.
When they talk about players, like they talk about Ben White, I forgot who said it. Maybe Arteta, but he said Ben White would run through a wall for you, right? It's
Yeah.
like that type of when they talk about a player like that, it just hypes me up around them, right? So
Mhm.
I, for me, for the sake of what was effective in 23-24, I'm gonna say Ben White with Timber coming on for man-to-man marking situations.
I'm gonna have to disagree with that. I would put Timber over Ben White. He's been absolutely solid on the right back. His meant to like we need uh more defensive capabilities at the moment. Honestly, Ben White, if we're gonna be pushing hard, I would say we have the really damn good defense. Let's be real. Um it's just for me, if we're gonna have Ben White on the right, he needs to track back much more faster. And Timber, he's not the kind of man that would be pushing up high unless Odegaard's telling him, hey, like move up. We need uh more attacking outlets. Um
I think
so
ultimately the way that I would hope Arteta would utilize either one of them is kind of based off of who we're playing. I think if we're playing somebody,
that,
closer to the top of the table, I think,
mhm,
Timber is a wise decision. And if we're playing, somebody that is on the lower end, definitely, with like a low block situation, I feel like, his overlapping runs can
mhm.
definitely open up some gaps for us to, create some plays,
I think that's
score some
fair.
goals.
But
Yeah,
but basically what we're saying is in a top six situation you play Timber and the rest
Yeah.
of the
Mhm.
season you play White.
Oh, no. Let's cut it all this out. We're going with one person only. Who you
No,
putting?
I agree. I already said that, but that was my point, right? If Timber's going to be used for the games against the top six, that's 10 matches, right? Versus
Yeah,
the rest of them going to Ben White, in my opinion.
but that's what I'm saying. So who you
Yeah.
putting down?
I'll put down White just because what edges it over for me is the fact that he booted the ball at John McGinn, and that was just fantastic.
Ben
He's
White.
one of the lads. Yeah, so Ben White.
Mhm. I'm
So
sticking with Timber.
what is that? 3 Timbers, 1 White,
No, that's
Nope.
so
I
far
went
That's
with
two,
it's
White.
two and
2
two.
Whites and 1
2 and
Timber.
2.
Did
Oh,
Yeah.
you what
two.
did you say?
I said Timber. I
You
said
said
Timber.
2 and 2?
Yeah,
All right.
2 and
Yeah,
2.
We're
yeah.
we're
Me
split
and Fern
decision on this one.
are on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we're at an impasse on this one.
All
All
right,
right.
let's move center back. Obviously,
I think we
no
can do
hands.
both at the same time.
Yeah,
Right.
it's Gabrielle
Yeah.
and
The
Saliba.
best
It's
center back
Yep.
duo in the league.
yeah,
The,
yeah.
yep.
Yep.
The best, absolute best. I am still fucking pissed that he got injured the way he did.
Who,
I'm
Gabriel?
so sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so sad
Happens.
that it happened to him like that. And not only that, it was probably I would want to say that it was probably a little more the injury was more exaggerated. Or maybe not exaggerated is the right word. Um more like it could have been
It could have
if
been
during the
prevented.
it could have been prevented like
Hmm He
maybe not.
could. It could have been prevented. He didn't have to play that game. We
No,
could have
I wouldn't
slotted
no.
Kibior into
I
that
don't
position for that game.
you're not wrong, but I wouldn't say prevented. Because let's be real, they when they had that starting lineup, everything was set. Like we were like, oh, it's like another day at the office. We're good. It
No, it
was
wasn't because he during the warm up they reported that he felt something
mm,
and they still played him.
yeah.
So it could have been avoided.
It could have been avoided then.
Well,
But
but
I
the
mean,
injury
I
was a
didn't.
That's
bummer.
Mhm.
that's nor here
But
nor there.
but we're
This is
starting.
if everybody's available,
Yeah.
Yeah.
regardless of health status. This
Yep.
is the best 11.
Yep.
Yep.
So
Anyways,
I think
left
it's
back now.
undisputed.
All
Left
right, left
back.
back.
Skelly for me. I'm leaving it at that.
I'm going Skelly too.
Mm,
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna have to stay Skelly.
He just showed way too
I was,
much. He just showed he can do it at the top level. He's young, he's hungry,
mhm,
and he plays with that arrogance. I'm going Skelly.
yeah. I was thinking more toward Fiore, but unfortunately, the injuries that he's had is just gonna put him more on the sideline, and
Yeah, I don't.
that's what gave Skelly all the opportunities that he needed, and
Yeah,
that won me over,
I would
honestly.
agree. Just because, like, I don't think I've seen enough of Calafiore to, make the argument that he deserves that position because of the injuries that have hindered kind of his progress in establishing himself in this squad. So I think Miles Lewis Skelly's the right decision in this case.
Hmm.
And so now we're
Midfield
going into the midfield.
One at a
this year
time.
is going to be hands down Zubamendi, right? Let's just say it right
Yeah.
there.
Zubimendi's your
Yeah.
6.
Hmm.
And for me, so here's my thought, and I'm going to say all 3 at once because Zubimendi drops into the 6. Declan Rice was arguably our best midfielder last season, and Odegaard is our captain.
He was our best midfielder last season.
Yeah,
I
so
don't think that's up for debate.
Yeah.
and Odegaard is our
Yeah.
captain, our club captain. I don't
Yeah, there's
think
no debate.
Odegaard
There's no
and Rice
debate.
get replaced, and Zubi's just going to slot in. So that's my midfield 3.
That's
Yeah,
my
there's
midfield three
there's
too.
no debate on it, honestly.
Yeah.
The right, I think right wing is obvious, right?
Saka.
Yep. Saka.
Yeah.
As things stand right now, on the left-hand side, our options are Martinelli, Trossard, and out-of-position Madueke. Because he did play for Chelsea on the left when they needed him to.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yep,
he is
and
classified as a right winger.
Mhm.
he is classified as a right, but he did again those performances against Liverpool and Manchester City.
Were they off the
Was
left?
That's
he
where they
was
were.
he
They
playing
were
on the
off the
left wing that time?
left. Yep, off the left. Cole Palmer was on the right.
Mm,
I already said
okay.
my piece with this. I love Martinelli as a player. He's one of my favorite. Like the
I
kid they
just,
bought from the 4th tier of Brazil. It's like I was rooting for him from the beginning. So
yeah,
Mhm. The grassroots kid.
I think
I
Trossard
can't.
is a super
Mhm.
sub. Of course, he has
Yeah.
moments, but I have to
I
go
think it's.
Martinelli to start.
I think for me, it's probably starting at the moment as it sits. I'd have to go with Madueke playing on that left hand side as it sits.
Hmm.
If we go, you know, take him out of the equation, like if we were starting before he signed, it'd have to be Trossard.
The thing that I would like, I love that man Trossard, but the thing is though, when he starts, I feel like he doesn't put up as much of a performance as when he does off the bench.
Off the bench. I agree.
Like what when he started playing, like when he made the whole fiasco with that, hey, I should be starting against, what was it, Aston Villa, I think. And then literally the game after that, when he started, he
Didn't do
he
anything.
was he wasn't there. He didn't do much.
I don't think he was as effective as he is coming off the bench.
I
Yeah.
agree. And I always thought of them as a good 1-2 punch, right? Because Martinelli, his strength is his pace and his stamina. And he runs at defenders all day long and tires them out. And then you get somebody who comes in with technical prowess and somebody who's good on the ball, takes shots. Like Trossard, after the defender's been worn out for 60 minutes. I always thought that was a good combination between the two of them. But
Mhm.
one of them has to start.
So again,
I think it's Martinelli, no question.
yeah, I have to agree with that. I'd have to put Martinelli on that left.
Okay,
I
I've
have to
been
go with my
seeing
heart.
since
3
his
Martinelli.
injury.
We understand that.
Three. I mean, three Martinelli. Yeah, but like I was saying, the way that I've been seeing him after this, injury, he just doesn't take players on.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah. Not
and
successfully. He tried a couple take-ons against Milan, or he tried a few, right? And it
one of
just,
them worked. One of them worked.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. One of them worked.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe he
and he looked
starts
a little
gaining his
rusty too.
confidence
So
slowly.
yeah, it's a confidence game for sure.
Mhm.
All right. So here's the question: Arsenal have not officially announced Victor Gyökeres, but we've got the here we go. We know the medical's coming. We know all that, right? Are you
He
counting
still hasn't
Gyökeres?
been. No.
Until he
I don't think
puts
Until he's in the shirt, it's
until
official.
yeah.
And
So
so
then-
right now, as it sits, we have Kai, we have
And Marino.
Jesus, and
And that's
and
it.
Marino.
Marino.
So
As it, I would
I'm putting
start
Kai in.
I'm
I
putting
would start
Kai.
Kai.
I think you have to. I mean, Marino out of position did great for us, but
I would.
wasn't Havertz our highest goal scorer last season with 9?
Top goal scorer,
Mhm.
top goal scorer before he got injured.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
he would have been
I
on
don't-
track for a good 15, 16 goals.
Honestly, with the extra muscle that he put in, he's definitely going to be able to shrug people off much more easily.
Yeah, we'll see. I remember watching
So-
some Chelsea commentators who kind of referred to him as someone who was afraid to get into a tussle, right?
Mhm.
And I don't think that's going to be much of an issue for him now.
Not
I mean,
for
you
the
could see it
Kaiser.
last season. I mean, you could see it last season. He was already starting to tussle with players on the field. You know, there was a couple of even in the AC Milan game. Look at the recovery he did to play towards Martinelli.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
So once the big man comes in, though,
He
we're
slots in
doing it.
immediately.
We're all doing it.
Nah,
That first goal at Old Trafford versus Amorim is going to hit.
I'm gonna do the opposite, bro.
Batman
Gabriel
Bale.
Magalhaes.
Big Gabby. All we need is somebody up front and just start covering their ears, and we got the trifecta.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we do. I mean, isn't that a pretty common celebration now? People do this a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we're not aiming for those. We're talking about like full cups, like mm-mm.
You're
Full
still
earmuffs?
covering,
Full
covering
earmuffs.
your ears at the end of the day.
full earmuffs.
Still
Full
blocking
earmuffs.
out all the noise.
Yep.
All right, guys, we are at a little over an hour. Any closing thoughts for the night before we call it and set up for the next one?
Well, Sunday is actually going to be pretty interesting. There has been rumors that Isak is not going to be playing the game.
Yeah. He didn't travel to Singapore with the team.
Yeah. So
Just got a notification about that, but go on.
no, what's his name? Anthony Gordon. Apparently, he is linked with Arsenal for some reason. I don't think we might need him, but I mean, it's always good to have a backup, or at least a squad player to fill in.
If I'm being totally honest, if we get Anthony Gordon, I think he starts ahead of Martinelli.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, I think he does.
I would agree with that.
But he's like Anthony Gordon to me is an intermediate player. He's not the superstar, but he would improve on what we have. I would much rather
I can
go
tell
for
you
Rodrigo.
Newcastle. I can tell you Newcastle aren't going to let Anthony Gordon go just because they just recently got him.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And as we were talking about Isak, so I got a notification on my phone that
On your beeper?
Yeah, my beeper, bro. My pager, bro. Actually, let me grab it real quick. No, so anyways, they interviewed Virgil van Dijk, and I didn't even know this, but according to the article, they're really, really close. And they asked him, what are the chances of him coming to Liverpool? And he said, we'll see. So,
you know, on that
I
note,
mean,
this seems like a dominoes thing, because my understanding from everything I heard today was if Isak happens to end up at Liverpool, Newcastle are going to target Šeško as the replacement. They already missed out on Ekitike from at Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, due to the circumstances Liverpool, you know, the football world went through with Diogo Jota, right? Liverpool do need 2 strikers. So signing
Do
Ekitike,
they need 2 strikers?
Well, who do they have with Jota gone and Darwin Nunez leaving?
Well, it's not confirmed.
Well, he's everybody at that
he's
club wants that man out the door. So I
yeah.
wouldn't be surprised to see him leave.
He's not out the door yet. So he's still
Yeah.
got 1 foot in. He's still got 1 foot in. We'll leave it at that.
So but Liverpool find themselves in a spot where they potentially could be strengthening from a position of strength and ending up with Ekitike and Isak. And then
I
with
feel
Newcastle
like
going in for who was supposedly our top target, and they'll be bringing in Shesko for 70 to 80 million, which we were not willing to pay.
so. On that topic too, I was reading on Chesko's release clause. I guess he has a verbal agreement now with Leipzig for 70 to 80 million before add-ons. So who knows about the add-ons that they're gonna want? But Leipzig are in no way, shape, or form able to demand a lot because they need to sell.
They do need to
Mhm.
sell.
They need to
Because
sell
of
either it's him or it's Xavi Simons. They have to
And-
sell either or because
because of
they're
FFP, right?
financial fair play and they didn't make Champions League, so they lost a bunch of money.
Mm-hmm.
So they have
Yeah.
to sell.
I see Siemens at the door, honestly, before
We'll be linked
Sesko.
to him.
There's a lot of
We're
there's a
linked
lot
to
of
them,
rumors he
but
might be going to Chelsea.
Yeah,
Yep.
Chelsea might be are interested in him too.
There's a lot of players that are linked to us just on that left hand side. So
When isn't a player linked to Arsenal?
Yeah, dude,
If it's a
you're maybe right.
transfer season or if it's a transfer window and a player wants out of his club, he'll be linked to Arsenal.
you know
You're
which
right.
one that always I hated for like the longest time because he was such a good player before he went to PSG.
Julian Draxler.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know you're going there. Because every
Hey,
summer we seem to be
hey, you
linking
know
with
what?
Julian Draxler.
It's okay, boys. I heard Benzema's on his way already.
40 million
See
plus
that
one.
not even
Gonzalo
that
Higuain's also on his way too.
it's always Suarez, bro.
Yeah.
Fucking 40 million and £1, bro. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
All right. Who else haven't we heard closing thoughts from?
No one, because we already closed somehow, I guess.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, cool. Thanks for dropping in. Don't forget to do the usual stuff, right? Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And the boys in the panel will be back soon. Probably fairly soon with another game coming up. So
After the Newcastle
I,
game.
I would say after the Newcastle game.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, we'll
Newcastle
work it
game
out.
or maybe confirmation. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah. We'll see. All right, guys. Thanks, everybody. One more cheers for you boys.
Well,
Cheers.
And we'll see everybody next time. Thanks for tuning in.